Good evening, everyone. My name is Nathan Jarosz here with WAOH TV for our City Council Ward 8 Forum. We have our two candidates, Dr. NJ Akbar and current council member Bruce Bolden. We did do a coin flip at the beginning of this evening in order to figure out who would open with their opening remarks first and who would have the closing. Councilmember Bruce Bolden won the coin toss and chose to give his closing remarks last. And then Dr. Akbar will be giving his opening remarks first. Both candidates will have 90 seconds for their opening and closing remarks, and will have 60 seconds to answer each question as we alternate from one question to the next. If any candidate addresses the other candidate will have a response for 30 seconds. And if I have any responses or a follow-up question, the candidate will be given 30 seconds as well. So let's go ahead and get started. We will have our first opening remarks by Dr. NJ Akbar.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. I am Dr. NJ Akbar. I'm a candidate for Ward 8 City Council. And I'm running because I want to make sure that our ward and our city is forward-thinking and forward-looking. And I'm running for every person in our ward so that they can have a champion. This race is about having a choice that will focus on economic development and small business growth, a choice that will focus on community development and community outreach and engagement, where we actually have events that bring resources directly to you instead of asking you to come to us. That is the choice that we're making here in this election. And I'm the person actually pushing forward on those policies and those, issues moving forward. I also want to make sure that we focus on sustainability and innovative, sustainable solutions, making sure that our ward and our city is actually preserving the land that we have and ensuring that we have greater tree canopies and that our future for the generations to come after us is protected and preserved. And lastly, I'm pushing for small businesses. As a small business owner, I know what it takes and why it's important, and I want to make sure that that's a focus here. Thank you.
Councilmember Bolden, your opening remarks.
Well, I'm Bruce Bolden. I'm Ward 8 Councilman. Born and raised in Akron here. I was appointed to City Council on July 29th, unanimously appointed by City Council to take this position on from 21 candidates. I've been previous a member of City Council back in 1991 through at the end of 1997. And I'm running because when I had that position, I realized the ability to help people was there, that the strong ability to help people. And I want to be able to do that again. And I've been doing that since I came in back at the end of July. This neighborhood that we live in Ward 8, I think it's the best place in the city to live. A little biased because we live here, but it is. I want to make sure that we have a safe neighborhood, that it stays safe. It is one of the safest areas in the city. We want to keep it that way. We want to make sure it's safe for families, for children. We've got a lot of issues with speeding in neighborhoods that we need to find a way to make things a little safer for our kids. I want to make sure that we bring in business that we can, small businesses to Ward 8 in certain areas that are a good fit for it, and work with the city to help in large business. My background in business is both small business and big business in Fortune 200 companies. Also, make sure that we preserve the area that we have, the conservation of the valley, of the trees, the tree canopy we have, and make sure we're working things for everyone in this ward. I want to represent, and I will represent, and do represent everyone in Ward 8, and be your voice on City Council.
Thank you. And so the first question of tonight will go to Councilmember Bruce Bolden. Now, you have previously served on Akron City Council in the 1990s as the Ward 1 council member. What is an accomplishment you would like to highlight with your time on City Council before?
One of the things I learned knocking on doors in 1991, running for this job, was the Merriman Valley had no fire station. The nearest fire station was in Highland Square. It was on a good day, 7 minutes. Normally it was 12 to 14 minutes for anyone to get fire safety or EMS. There were fires where houses literally burned to the ground. As I went through this, as soon as I got on council, was elected, I was on the mayor's front door desk asking him, we need actually telling him, which is kind of hard to do to Don Plasquelic, but we did talk about why we needed a fire station. It was the most important issue. There were other issues we had to do. We wanted to make sure that we had the areas that were covered by Cuyahoga Falls and Fairlawn, that we did some joint coverage areas so we would conserve our fire departments and make sure we weren't overlapping services. We eventually got that fire station built. It has saved lives. It saved my daughter's kindergarten teacher's husband's life. That's what's important.
Next to Dr. Akbar, you have previously served on the Akron Public School Board and served as president of the board.
Yes.
What is an accomplishment you would like to highlight with your time on the Akron Public School Board?
Absolutely. My time on the school board will be characterized as a time where we focused on community engagement, incorporating equity and transparency throughout our processes. Accomplishments that I have is as one of the most prolific policy writers on the board in recent history, over 14 policies and resolutions to my credit that focused on engaging the community. One of them being when boundary lines are changed for where students go to school, there has to be community engagement at it. Also making sure that there was a racial equity policy that focused on ensuring that we had equitable hiring practices. We had a chief diversity officer that focused on having auditing responsibility. And most importantly, I'm proud of making sure that hourly workers received as much as $4 an hour more, and also teachers getting their highest pay increases in most recent history.
This next question will start with Dr. Akbar. What are your top economic priorities for Ward 8 and Akron as a whole, and how would you work with businesses and community leaders to achieve them?
Absolutely. So I am a business owner as well, and I know the importance of having strong small businesses. They are the lifeline of our communities and our families. Many people who are owners of small businesses, their thriving business actually is what makes sure that they have a thriving household and a thriving community. So one of the things I would do is work with small businesses to make sure that their voices are a part of the process. I think that's important. And making sure that whatever incentives or opportunities that they want, we are working with the mayor and city council to incorporate them. I also want to make sure we build the infrastructure that supports small business growth and ownership, where resources can be shared right here in our ward. I think that's important as well. So that's what I would do, and that's how I would work with our small business owners.
And to Councilmember Bolden, the same question. I'll repeat it. What are your top economic priorities for Ward 8 and Akron as a whole? And how would you work with the businesses and community leaders to achieve them?
For Ward 8, I think the biggest opportunity we have for business growth is the Merriman Valley. This is a destination spot that we can bring people into. We've got businesses down there. We've got both retail and we've got commercial businesses in there. We've also got a lot of things going on there. I am on the steering committee for the Cuyahoga Valley Gateway Committee, or partnership program, where we are looking at bringing all the businesses together and utilize their common and shared knowledge to grow this business. We want to see how we can do this as far as whether it's similar like a downtown Akron partnership. If we can make this, whether it's a special incentive district or a CDC, Community Development Community Corporation, how we do this. We also have to look at other areas. There are small little areas in the city. Pilgrim Square is one that we need to make sure is vital for this neighborhood. Wallhaven is an important area. There's a little strip plaza up on Hawkins, right by Thurmont, that really needs some work. We also need to work with the city and economic development on the big picture and make sure we bring in jobs for this community.
Thank you. This next question will have Councilmember Bolden answer first. What is your strategy for attracting and retaining businesses in Akron, particularly in struggling neighborhoods?
Well, that's something that we need to do. Again, we need to bring in business. We need to keep those businesses we have. Looking at with the situation where we are with everyone buying things online, retail is dying, big retail, but small niche retail shops are alive. There's a couple. There's a small soap shop that's back in behind CVS. That is a unique little place. How do we help these businesses? Neighborhood business grants. Work with other agencies such as the Greater Akron Chamber and in other communities to bring in other businesses that can mentor other businesses. How we do this? Greater Akron Chamber, the Black Chamber of Commerce can do this too. Robert DeJarnett's group. How do we bring these people together? Similar to what we're doing here, where we've got an incubator here where we're at now at Balance Innovations. How do we bring those people into our community, into Ward 8, and entice them with bringing business into our community and growing that business, helping them to stay here when they have problems by business grants. Smart Streets is something we're using in the city and can help them with grants for their businesses.
And then Dr. Akbar, same question to you. I'll repeat. What is your strategy for attracting and retaining businesses in Akron, particularly in struggling neighborhoods?
Absolutely. So in our struggling neighborhoods, one of the things we can do is really invest in the properties that we have and encourage people who live and residents who live in those areas to actually have small businesses. So having small business grants to help help businesses start up is really huge for small businesses. Having some type of financial and technical support is vital. Also, when you have small businesses in Ward 8, we don't have many sidewalks. And so making sure that our small business areas also have walkability, and to work with our small business owners specifically to find out what it is that they need and support that through policy and legislation and ordinances. So that's how I would support and attract more small businesses.
And Dr. Akbar, this next question will start with you. Housing affordability and rental costs are a key concern to the community of Akron.
Absolutely.
What policies would you support to expand access to safe and affordable housing? And how would you balance development with neighborhood preservation?
Absolutely. The first thing I'll say is we definitely need to strike a clear balance between development and neighborhood revitalization and sustainability in our preserving our land. And I think that's important. One of the things that I would do is work with our housing administrator to figure out what are the concerns that they've received so far and actually work with the community to understand their needs. We also need to really we actually need to add more restrictions for these out-of-town companies buying up all of our properties and having little to no investment in the community. I think that we could do that by having different ordinances, strengthening our ordinances for housing and rent stability, and also having ordinances that put more teeth into our rental companies from out of town specifically.
And next we go to Councilmember Bolden, same question. Housing affordability and rental costs are a key concern in Akron. What policies would you support to expand access to safe and affordable housing? And how would you balance development with neighborhood preservation?
That's a big issue. How do we keep housing and how do we support the lower income housing and housing that's sustainability? A couple of things we're doing on City Council with the capital budget this year. We've got over $730,000 budgeted for affordable housing development. These are basically matching grants for developers for small up to 10 units of housing that they can put in, so we can help support those. We've also got down payment assistance on homes up to $300,000 that we're helping them. We also have other ways that we're doing this. What we need to do, I think, is really work with outside agencies, partner with agencies. That's where we can really see some growth. People like the East Akron Neighborhood Development Corporation. Look what they did with LeBron I Promise Home, where that's in cooperation with them. Alpha Phi Alpha, who does great work in building homes. These people have experience. And when you partner a city with an outside development, you have a better chance of pulling in grants and being successful.
So next question will be starting with Councilmember Bolden. How should Akron advance diversity, equity, and inclusion policies to ensure it remains an inclusive and welcoming city?
This is a tough question with what we're hearing from Washington, but the good news is that the mayor has said, the mayor's office administration, we are not moving away from where we are. And City Council is 100% behind him. We are not going to move away from where we are, and we need to realize that we are a diverse world, bottom line. And we need to make sure that we push those programs that are available, and we include everyone in all the decisions that we make. It's really frustrating to see this coming down from Washington, and we're in strange times here. We're seeing things happen that we just don't have control over with the schools, with the way they're cutting back and they're threatening funding. We are going to do everything we can in this city to sponsor these things, and we do a number of different things. We have different programs in different neighborhoods. I like the way that we've supported Akron Pride, the festival, and everything we've done in the city. We're going to continue to do that the best we can.
Dr. Akbar, same question. How should Akron advance diversity, equity, and inclusion policies to ensure it remains an inclusive and welcoming city?
Absolutely. As a diversity, equity, and inclusion expert and scholar, I could talk about this all day. So I'm going to be as brief and concise as I can. The first thing is diversity, equity, and inclusion. Those are not buzzwords. They actually mean something, and it means more than just race. That's what it's been unfortunately boiled down to and reduced to, unfortunately. It means we have accessible walkways and curb cuts for individuals who, like my husband, who are in a wheelchair and can actually travel and get around the city. It also means making sure that we have contracting revise policies and practices so that we have more small businesses and more businesses from marginalized communities having access. So, for example, you have individuals where you have contracts and RFPs out there, and you put a big RFP out. If you break those contracts down, you can actually get more qualified small businesses to apply and get them. Thank you.
So next, we're going to move into the topic of policing. And so, Dr. Akbar, you'll be the one to answer this question first. What is your working relationship with the Akron Police Department, and how would you collaborate with law enforcement to improve public safety?
Absolutely. So I have a deep, immense respect for police and our police department. As a son of an air policeman and a person who served in the Army in the military police brigade, and worked alongside police officers for years, I know the importance of the work that they do. I have met, when I was an elected official, quite occasionally with our former chief and all the officers, as well as a member of the Black elected officials. We met quite regularly with the police officers. One of the things that we want to do when we're elected is to ensure that we have a strong police force that focuses on building community relationships and actually having a small substation in our ward or near our ward so that we can have better presence.
And Councilmember Bolden, same question to you. What is your working relationship with the Akron Police Department, and how would you collaborate with law enforcement to improve public safety?
I have a great relationship with members of Akron Police Department. Chief Harding, who I've met with and had coffee with a couple times, and talked about the big picture things that he has on his plate. Are in Ward 8 and in I believe District 4 that covers 3, 4, and 8. We have a community engagement officer, Aaron Brown, who is just a gem. He is. Work with him. I probably talk to him daily. He handles a lot of things anywhere, and he's one of these guys that is not just a policeman when you see that comes out that you think of. He is doing community relations where he is working with neighbors. If there's a neighborhood dispute, he's talking with them. And he handles a lot of these different things. And he is one of these people that just really wants to work and do whatever he can. And I think we've got that. Most 99.9% of our policemen are those people. They are more than just a policeman. They are social workers. They do a lot of different things, negotiators, and they are very strong on what they do, and I'm so happy they're here.
And Councilmember Bolden, you'll be answering this question first. So, given concerns about police accountability and racial justice, what specific policies would you support to improve police community trust while ensuring public safety?
That's a tough issue. And I know we see that, and the big issue of course we hear is use of force, and that's what people see. And how police treat those that they come in contact with. Training is one of the things. I've talked with the chief about this. I've talked with other police. They always want more training. And we need to look at that. The use of force issue that we have, we need to look at that and make sure we are doing the right thing in this issue. I know we had something, the mayor's proposal, pretty pricey. It did not pass on council. And one of the things we did do is council came up with an alternative, and we just did, where we were looking at the University of Akron to do some training. They have worked with the Cincinnati Police Department and come up with a plan to work with them on training and make sure that we're using the right training. Things you have to remember, when you do train an officer, you have to take them off the street, so we have to backfill that position. So we have to make sure we have the money to do it. But the training, so we have the right policies in place, we can build that trust back with the community.
And Dr. Akbar, same question. Given concerns about police accountability and racial justice, what specific policies would you support to improve police community trust while ensuring public safety?
Absolutely. I would definitely support any policy that focuses on accountability, as well as strengthening our support of the police. So one of the things that we need to do is not just ask our police officers to be social workers, to be people who are going to be sharing resources or be counselors. We actually need to have a greater partnership with social workers and mental health counselors so that we can have a stronger community support network. We also need to strengthen the accountability structure for our Citizens Police Oversight Committee. Currently, you have a police oversight committee that has agreed with the Akron Police Department 99% of the time. For that 1% of the time, we need to make sure there's actually teeth in what they put forward, so it doesn't just, their recommendations don't just sit on a desk and collect dust.
Dr. Akbar, this next question will be for you relating to Akron's young people. So what initiatives would you support to expand educational, job training, and even mentorship opportunities for Akron's young people, particularly in the at-risk communities?
Absolutely. So I have spent 17 years of my life as a professional educator from middle school to college. And I also started a mentor program called Alpha Core of Excellence mentor program that I've worked directly with youth for many, many years. And so this is very important to me. I think we can do a few things. One, we can have low cost vocational and job and internship training opportunities after school to enhance what's happening in the schools. A lot of times we try to put everything in the school, and unfortunately, the school can't do everything. And so we have to have additional supports that wrap around the student. We also, I think another great opportunity for us is to partner with our small businesses and give our students and young people opportunities for internships and apprenticeships. I think that hands-on experience is what our young people are desiring, and we can give it to them.
Councilmember Bolden, same question to you. What initiatives would you support to expand educational, job training, and mentorship opportunities for Akron's young people, particularly in at-risk communities?
This is extremely important because the children are we all say it, are our future, and that's where we're going to see growth. We've got a great start with Akron Public Schools and their college and career academies. This is not just started out as a high school program. It's expanded down to middle school into grade school, elementary school, where kids can learn about different careers. They can find out what they like, what they're interested in. We're partnering with businesses in this community that can help and offer internships and help work with these people and guide them down the road of a career they might like. Not everybody may want to go to college. They may want to be a plumber. They may want to work in HVAC. They may want to be a woodworker, work in construction. These are good jobs that pay good wages. And these are through college and career academies, we have opportunities for them to do that. Great starting point. Other thing is to work in mentorship with other agencies. Youth Success Summit is a clearinghouse of some of these, where you can find some of these. Nathan, you run one. You run a mentorship program, a leadership program for young people. There's plenty of these to work with, and you can find them on the Youth Success Summit.
So, Councilmember Bolden, this next question will be for you to start with. What is your plan to address environmental concerns in Akron?
We have, we're working on some right now. Obviously, we got the sewer project that's going on, and we're trying to do some different things there to save the residents money. We need to make sure that we're environmentally conscious of every project we do. The planning department is making sure when we're doing building projects, we're doing it. Service department is doing the same thing. We are going to see coming from Washington, basically, I'm afraid they're going to abolish the EPA and strip it to where it's not where it needs to be. These are important issues because it's our future. We're dropping 1,800 trees in our community here that we've budgeted. We are expanding the tree canopy. We're looking at ways that we can actually do a digital tree assessment of every tree in the city, so we know where they are, and we can come back, and when one disappears, we know where we can look at them and put them back in. Trees are important. We need to make sure we take care of our rivers. Everything, we do not pollute our rivers, and we convict those, or we go after those people with criminal charges that aren't.
Then Dr. Akbar, same question. What is your plan to address environmental concerns in Akron?
Thank you. Well, my first plan is to make sure that I'm paying attention to what comes before council, and working with people in our communities to make sure that their voices are heard when there's new development being happened. I think as a city, we need to resist the urge to put a building or housing projects or on every piece of land. We need to ensure that we're preserving our wetlands. What happened in White Pond is a travesty, to be honest with you. And I think that that's something we can do. We could do a better job of including our community's voice before decisions are made throughout the process. We also need to invest in our EV charging station infrastructure. As an EV driver, I know how important that is if we're ever going to actually be serious about that. And lastly, I think we also need to invest in solar energy, where the city will save money by having its own energy source, but also being able to sell it to First Energy.
Then Dr. Akbar, this question will be for you to start. What steps would you take to increase transparency in city council decisions and make government more accessible to the residents?
Absolutely. I appreciate that question. So what I will do is just what I did on school board. Community engagement, transparency were two of the biggest things that would describe my leadership on school board. The first thing I did was rewrite the restrictive public comment policy, removing all restrictions for residents to actually speak to their public body. I think as a public official, you should hear residents when you agree with them and when you don't agree with them. There's no way for you to know whether or not you need to expand your point of view if you don't hear opposing views. So that's something I would do, is look at rewriting our very restrictive council public comment policy. I think the way restricting people from only speaking once every 30 days is just not good. Also, only 10 people a meeting. You obviously have to have a time frame to run meetings efficiently, but we should allow our residents to speak.
Councilmember Bolden, what steps would you take to increase transparency in city council decisions and make government more accessible to the residents?
It's important. It would be great if everyone would be involved. And it's how do we get more people involved? There's a couple things that I do myself as councilman. I send out a newsletter once a month with different things that are going on in the city and different things that are going on. I have a public safety, something about conservation, something about a small business, economic development, and some administrative something that it was an ordinance or something that's going on. And I encourage people to respond to this. And it's funny because I do get responses. People do respond to my newsletter and they ask questions about different things. Recently, there's a lot of questions about sidewalks that I put in. So we have people, we do that. I also have ward meetings once a month where we bring people in, different people from the city to talk about different items. It's a third Wednesday of every month. As far as city council, we do have a public comment section. It is 30 minutes before the meeting on Monday night, and we do allow 10 people to speak as long as they sign up 4 minutes or before 4 o'clock for the meeting.
Okay. Councilmember Bolden, this question will be for you. How do you see your role in working with Mayor Malik and the rest of the city council members? What will your approach to collaboration and addressing policy differences be?
Well, there's going to be differences. The mayor's doing a great job. I mean, he is out there and he has a vision what he wants to do. He's a great guy. And he cares about this city. The mayor really does. I've knew him before he was on council, and he does. He cares about this city. People on city council do too, but we're going to have differing views, but we also have similar views. We need to work collaboratively as a city, both as the mayor, the second floor and third floor, the administration, and city council to move this city forward. Information about what's coming down the pike. How can we help and how can we look at these ordinances that come down and give us time to do the right amount of research on them as we make decisions that are financial decisions and hit everyone in our community. We do get along. We do pass legislation. When we don't, we need to come up with alternatives. And we just did that, again, with that use of force, where city council came up with an alternative, and that's currently on the table. Where it goes from here, we're working together trying to find some alternatives.
And Dr. Akbar, how do you see your role in working with Mayor Malik and the rest of the City Council? What will your approach to collaboration and addressing policy differences be?
Absolutely. So my role and approach will be to have open communication and to focus on our shared goals and our shared values and actually looking at what can we get done and working together to push that forward. I'll also want to say is as I've walked every inch of the ward over the last few months and knocking doors, I've learned that Ward 8 residents want someone who's going to support the mayor. Look, I support the mayor. I support him 100%. And I believe that his success is our success. Now, does that mean we're going to always agree? No. However, what I am going to do is make sure that we have forward-thinking sessions and also opportunities to have open lines of communication. That I think that's important. Working with council members to do the very same thing.
And then, Dr. Akbar, you'll be the first to answer this question. What is one major challenge Akron faces that has not received enough attention, and how would you address it?
Absolutely. Being president of the Akron School Board during COVID, one of the things that became glaringly apparent to me working with parents and community members is that there's a digital divide in our community. And we really need to do something about that and invest in ensuring that we have broadband access across our city, across this community. It should not just be based on how much money you have and whether you can afford to pay that bill. As you probably know, bills for internet services getting very costly, almost as much as your cable bill used to be. And so one of the things that I would make sure that we do is look at having free public Wi-Fi access at our parks. Ward 8 doesn't have a shortage of those. That's something that I think we could do, and also invest in some digital literacy because in order to get a job, you have to have the internet.
And then Councilmember Bolden, same question. What is one major challenge Akron faces that has not received enough attention, and how would you address it?
Thank you. I'm going to go back to COVID. It was brought up. COVID changed this world. It changed all of us. One thing that it did, it isolated a lot of us. We used to have a lot of block clubs and neighborhood watches in Ward 8, a number of them that were strong, where people knew their neighbors, they knew each other, and they were getting out talking with them. COVID shut us down where we really couldn't do that. We need to find ways to bring people back together. And one of the ways is to look at those block watches and those neighborhood watch groups where people could do this. Now, a lot of it's done digitally right now. You'll see a lot on Facebook or Nextdoor, but that's not the way you create relationships. You create the relationships by getting together. And if we can do that with neighborhood watches, with the block groups that get together on a monthly basis and talk about the needs of each and every one of us, how we can help each other. It fosters this community, makes us stronger, and makes us aware of everyone else's challenges, and we can be a stronger community.
And then the last question before closing remarks will be a very light one, which is for Councilmember Bolden first. What do you love about Akron?
It's a small town that kind of thinks it's a big town. There's so much unique about this community that it is affordable. It is close to every major. We have our own major. We've got a great symphony. We've got parks that are unbelievable within our reach. We've got sports and entertainment of a major of professional sports just a few miles away, 30 minutes away. We have, I always like to say Akron is 2 degrees of separation. I know somebody that you know. I know somebody that you know. And we all know each other, but how do we make this strong again? You know, there's so many assets that we have in this community. We can build our schools back where they need to be. We have just beautiful different neighborhoods. We have different people throughout this. What's grown in Ward 2 up in North Hill where I grew up is a completely different ethnic neighborhood than I grew up in. But it's a great neighborhood. We've got strong people, strong commitment.
And then Dr. Akbar, what do you love about Akron?
I love that Akron is a place where you can raise a family. You can have buy an affordable home if compared to other places in the housing prices. You also just have great people here who care about each other. I also have found some great restaurants that I love as well, since I love to eat and explore different cultures. I think that's what we have here. As a person who's been here 17 years, who's been asked a few times to leave and go other places, I wouldn't have it any other way but to be here. This is my adopted home. A place that has accepted me and brought me in and allowed me to be who I am and to love on me for everything that I am. I'm a Black, gay, Muslim. You don't get a lot of those around here. So I love Akron because they accept me.
And now it is time to move into our closing remarks. And so, Dr. Akbar, you will go first with your first 90 seconds.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Akron, especially Ward 8, for tuning in today. I want to say that Akron is at a crossroads where we can really move our city forward and our ward forward. We have an opportunity to really think about solutions for the next generation right now and invest today, making these small investments today to have large targeted impacts for tomorrow. I'm that person to help lead us in our community. Being a ward councilman is a very personal decision. It is. And as I've walked, this ward, what I've found is people want someone that they know. And I've gotten to know you. I didn't just start talking to neighbors and in the community just today. I've done that for the last 6 years or so for myself and other people running for office, but more importantly, just so that I can learn and talk to you. And that's what I want to do. Bring your voices with me to council, and also ensure that if you want to come to council, that you have no restriction of doing so and that you can sign up as long as you come before the call of order of that meeting. I think that's important. It allows our council to be more transparent, to focus on open communication and community engagement. Please reach out to me at 330-552-8055. I'm accessible and I want to make sure that I hear from you.
And Councilmember Bolden, your closing remarks.
Thank you for the time to do this, to talk with people in Akron. I've been out knocking on doors since November in Ward 8 and talking with residents about their concerns, their needs, and their hopes, their dreams of what we have here. I've shared mine with them. I have lived in this ward since 2002, moved to the house my wife grew up in. I'm born and raised in Akron. I love this town. I love this part of town. It is taken over with my kids going to Firestone. Both of them was involved in their school and with the PTA and the theater program there, getting to know a lot of people through there, going through my church, which is up in Ward 8, and getting to know people through there, and doing volunteer work and other things in the ward. When you look at a council person, you look at who you're going to vote for at this point, it's kind of like a job interview, or you're going to hire a contractor. You look for experience, first of all. If you're not going to hire if you're going to hire a plumber, you're going to hire somebody with plumbing experience. You're not going to hire somebody with carpentry experience. If you're looking for a council person, you're looking for somebody who might have some council experience. I have that. I have the proven ability of bringing in projects and capital budget items to my ward and Ward 1, and I want to do the same for this area. Just brought in $5,000 to Corona Park in the Valley with a new swing set, and we have more to come next year and this year. I want to be your councilman. I know it's a privilege to be your councilman. I want to represent you on City Council and be your voice in City Hall.
Well, thank you to both candidates for coming here tonight and sharing your vision, your thoughts, your ideas with the community. And thank you for all of you who chose to tune in and watch this Ward 8 forum. The election for this Ward 8 seat is going to be on May 6th. Early voting will begin on April 8th. So you can look on the Summit County Board of Elections website for more information. Thank you and have a great rest of your evening.